Thank you so much for attending my PowerPoint presentation on the rarest items in Terraria. Now look, we all know Terraria has some pretty standard rare drops, but there's a whole category of items that are so stupidly rare they almost feel impossible to get. The drop rates on some of these things are ridiculous, and in today's video, we're going to go over the rarest items in the game. We'll go over each item's mechanics, where to find them, what makes them ridiculously rare, and most importantly, how to make the grind slightly less miserable. Starting off with something that's rare but not completely hopeless, the Blessed Apple drops from unicorns at a 2.5% rate. This thing summons the Blessed Unicorn mount, which is honestly one of the coolest looking rides in the game. The unicorn can reach speeds up to 61 miles per hour and deals 60 damage to enemies when you're charging at full speed, plus it has this magical double jump ability that feels incredible. What makes it rare is that unicorns only spawn in the hallowed biome, and they're not exactly common enemies. You'll be running around those pink grass fields for a while. But here's the thing, 2.5% is actually generous by Terraria standards. The unicorn mount is legitimately useful for exploration and has that fantasy aesthetic that makes it worth showing off. To farm this efficiently, just build a basic enemy spawning platform in the surface hallow and wait for unicorns to charge at you. The drop rate means you'll probably see one within 40 to 50 kills, which is practically charitable compared to what's coming next. Moving up the rarity ladder, we have Seaweed, which summons an adorable turtle pet. This used to be exclusively found in underground jungle shrine chests and living mahogany tree chests, making it world generation dependent and therefore permanently limited. Each world only generates so many of these locations, so if you got unlucky with chest contents, you were completely out of luck. The 1.4 update threw us a bone though. You can now fish this from jungle crates and bramble crates, increasing the chances to 5%. This completely changed the farming dynamic because suddenly you could actually grind for it instead of hoping your world generation didn't screw you over. The turtle pet itself is purely cosmetic, but undeniably cute, and the fact that you can now fish for it makes it way more accessible than the shrine-only days. Set up a jungle fishing spot with some crate potions and you'll eventually snag one. It's still rare, but at least now it's farmable rare instead of prey to RNGesus rare. This transforms the acquisition from world generation dependent to time investment dependent, which is a huge improvement for anyone actually trying to collect all pets. Reindeer bells were literally the first mount item ever added to Terraria, which gives them serious historical street cred. These drop from the Ice Queen during the Frost Moon event, but here's the catch. She only shows up starting at wave 15. The Frost Moon is no joke either. This is one of the most challenging events in the game, requiring serious preparation and gear. But when you finally get Rudolph, oh man, this reindeer is fast. We're talking faster than lightning boots, faster than most other mounts, and it's got that iconic red nose that screams Christmas magic. The rarity here isn't just about drop rates, it's about being skilled enough to actually reach wave 15 consistently. You need proper arena setup, endgame weapons, and the patience to grind through multiple Frost Moon events. The saving grace is that once you can reliably clear to wave 15, the Ice Queen has a decent drop rate. It's not a 0.01% nightmare, it's just gated behind legitimate difficulty. Alright, before we dive into the truly rare drops, I should probably mention that making this video nearly drove me to uninstall Terraria twice, so if you're enjoying my suffering, maybe hit that subscribe button. The discount card is where the pirate grind gets obnoxious. It gives 20% off all NPC purchases and services, including Goblin Tinkerer Reforging, and that discount is practically mandatory in endgame. Reforging alone can cost 50 plus platinum coins per accessory, so over a full playthrough the savings add up to hundreds of thousands of coins. The problem is the drop rate. Regular pirates drop it at a brutal 0.1%, meaning thousands of kills if you're unlucky. The Flying Dutchman has a better 6.67% chance, but it only appears during pirate invasions, and even then, not consistently. You can farm invasions with pirate maps, but it's still pure RNG. It's worth it, especially since it crafts into the greedy ring, but locking an essential item behind punishing odds feels excessive. Staying with the pirate theme, the pirate staff summons a little pirate minion that runs around stabbing things with his sword. It's got that same brutal 0.1% drop rate from regular pirates, though the Flying Dutchman is much more generous at 6.67%. The summoner class has always gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to weapon accessibility, and the pirate staff is no exception. It's actually decent for a hard mode summoner weapon. The pirate minion is aggressive, deals solid damage, and works well against ground-based bosses. The problem is that by the time you're farming pirates, there are other summoner weapons that might be more practical to obtain. Still, if you're going for a complete summoner collection or just love the aesthetic of having a tiny pirate companion, the grind is at least somewhat manageable since you're probably farming pirates anyway for the discount card and lucky coin. The Rod of Discord. This thing teleports you instantly to your mouse cursor and has probably saved more lives than any other item in Terraria. It drops from Chaos Elementals in the Underground Hollow at 0.2% to 0.25% depending on your world difficulty. What makes this particularly brutal is that Chaos Elementals aren't exactly common spawns, so you're dealing with both spawn rarity and drop rarity. But here's the thing. When you finally get this rod, it changes everything. Instant teleportation with no mana cost makes boss fights trivial, exploration effortless, and emergency escapes guaranteed. The Chaos State debuff prevents spam usage by dealing percentage-based damage, but that's a fair trade for essentially unlimited mobility. To farm this, you need a proper Underground Hollow spawn platform with adequate lighting and enemy spawn optimization. Some players report getting it in a few hours, others grind for weeks. The variance in luck is what makes this item so infamous in the community. The lucky coin makes enemies drop extra coins when you deal damage, and it's the foundation of every serious money-making build in Terraria. Regular pirates drop it at an absolutely devastating 0.05% rate with a 0.2% chance from the pirate captain, and the Flying Dutchman is slightly more reasonable at 6.67%. This accessory transforms your entire economic game. Combined with the discount card and gold ring, you create this feedback loop where enemies pay for your gear upgrades. The coin multiplication effect is so powerful that it essentially removes money as a limiting factor from your playthrough. You can reforge endlessly, buy whatever you want from NPCs, and never worry about gold again. The problem is actually getting the damn thing. At 0.025%, you're looking at an expected 4,000 pirate kills for a single drop. Even during invasion events with boosted spawn rates, this is a serious time investment. The silver lining is that you're probably farming pirates for multiple items anyway, so it's more like a bonus nightmare on top of your existing pirate grinding. Each biome key has a 0.04% drop rate from enemies in their respective biomes, and you need 5 different keys to access all the biome chests. That's Corruption, Crimson, Hollow, Jungle, Snow, and Desert keys, each requiring you to murder approximately 2,500 enemies on average. The weapons inside these chests are genuinely useful. The Vampire Knives from Crimson, Rainbow Gun from Hollow, Piranha Gun from Jungle. These aren't just collector items, they're legitimate endgame tools, but the farming process is absolutely mind-numbing. You're looking at building specific biome farms, optimizing spawn rates, and grinding for hours per key. The randomness means some players get multiple keys in a few hundred kills, while others go 5,000 plus kills without seeing one. At least any coin-dropping enemy in the biome can drop the key, so you're not limited to specific enemy types. Build a good spawn platform in each biome, put on a podcast, and prepare for the long haul. The coin gun uses coins as ammunition and scales damage based on the coin type you're firing. Platinum coins turn this thing into one of the most powerful weapons in Terraria, but using platinum ammo is hilariously expensive. It drops from pirates at 0.025%, making it twice as rare as the lucky coin. This weapon is the ultimate flex item. Sure, it's incredibly powerful when loaded with platinum coins, but you're literally shooting money at enemies. The DPS is insane, but the cost per shot makes it impractical for most content. It's the kind of weapon you break out for special occasions or when you want to demonstrate that you have more money than sense. The drop rate is so low that most players never see one naturally. You have to specifically farm pirates with the intention of getting this thing. Set up a pirate invasion farm, prepare for thousands of kills, and hope RNG doesn't completely hate you. There are 193 total paintings in Terraria scattered across different sources with varying rarity levels. Some are sold by NPCs, others are found in chests, and many have specific generation or drop conditions that make completing the collection a massive undertaking. Paintings are purely cosmetic, but they represent one of the ultimate completionist challenges. You need to explore every underground cabin, every desert cabin, every dungeon chest, fish for specific quest rewards, and hunt down traveling merchant spawns. The Waldo painting alone is a nightmare to find since it's hidden among regular cabin paintings. What makes this category particularly brutal is that it's not just about drop rates, it's about world generation luck, NPC spawn timing, and systematic exploration of literally every structure. Most players ignore paintings completely, which makes the few who collect them all genuinely impressive. The companion cube costs 5 platinum coins from the traveling merchant and only appears in his very rare item pool. This makes it the single most expensive item purchasable from NPCs in the entire game. It summons a portal reference pet that occasionally stabs you in complete darkness. 5 platinum coins is an absolutely stupid amount of money for a purely cosmetic pet, but the portal reference gives it serious cultural value, and the fact that it can actually damage you adds this weird twisted charm. The rarity isn't about drop rates, it's about economic gatekeeping. You need to accumulate enough wealth to casually spend 5 platinum on a joke item, Plus, you need to get lucky with Traveling Merchant Inventory RNG. The death message was stabbed by Companion Cube is worth the price of admission, though. This is peak Terraria developer humor, making the most expensive pet in the game occasionally murder you. Banners drop after you kill 50 of the same enemy type, and the Nymph banner requires 50 Nymph kills. Nymphs spawn at 0.5% and are completely passive enemies that just stand around in dark areas without moving or making noise. Most players walk right past them without even noticing. This banner is essentially useless from a practical standpoint, but it represents an insane dedication to enemy hunting. Finding 50 nymphs requires systematic exploration of cavern systems while actively looking for these nearly invisible enemies. They don't attack, they don't make sound, they just exist in random dark corners. The community jokes about nymph banner holders being more dedicated than Rod of Discord farmers, and honestly, they might be right. At least Chaos Elementals actively try to kill you, so you notice when they spawn. The Terragrim has a 3.33% drop rate from enchanted sword shrines, but here's the problem. Shrine generation is completely random, and many worlds don't even have real shrines. You might generate 5 worlds and find nothing but fake shrines with no swords. When you do get this sword, it's actually incredible for early game progression. The attack speed is phenomenal, and it can carry you through most pre-hard mode content. But the acquisition method is what makes it frustrating. You can't farm this in a traditional sense. You have to either get lucky with world generation or use save scumming techniques to reload worlds until you find a real shrine. The 1.4 update added sword spawns in general cavern areas, but they're still uncommon enough that finding one requires serious exploration time. The Money Trough summons a portable piggy bank that you can access anywhere, making it a decent quality of life item. It drops from Blood Moon enemies like Blood Zombies and Dripplers, but the drop rate varies and isn't consistently documented across wiki sources. This is one of those items that's more useful than its rarity suggests. Having portable storage access eliminates the anxiety about losing coins during risky exploration or boss fights. The Blood Moon event makes farming somewhat predictable since you can trigger it with specific timing, but the spawn rates of the dropping enemies can be inconsistent. It's not as prestigious as other rare drops, but it's legitimately helpful for inventory management. Most players don't specifically farm for this, they just get lucky during Blood Moon events while doing other activities. The Amber Mosquito drops from Extractinator processing at 1 out of 10,000 from Silt and Slush, or 27 out of 100,000 from Desert Fossils. This summons the baby dinosaur pet, which gets picked up by a pterosaur if you fly too high. It's genuinely one of the rarest pets in the game. The Extractinator grind is a special kind of tedious because you're not even fighting enemies. You're just feeding materials into a machine and hoping for good RNG. Silt and Slush are farmable from desert areas, but Desert Fossils are world limited, making them a finite resource. The drop rates are so low that you'll probably extract thousands of materials before seeing this pet. When you finally get it though, the prehistoric aesthetic is pretty cool and the pterosaur pickup animation is a nice touch. This is pure dedication farming for completionist collectors. The Sugar Glider comes from shaking trees and has a reputation in the community as being crazy rare. The exact drop rates aren't well documented, but player reports suggest it's comparable to slime staff levels of rarity. The pet itself glides around and looks adorable. Tree shaking as a farming method is uniquely frustrating because it's inconsistent with enemy spawns. You're literally just clicking on trees hoping for drops. Different tree types in different biomes have varying chances, and there's no clear optimization strategy. The Sugar Glider pet is cute enough to justify the grind for collectors, but the farming method makes it more tedious than traditional enemy drops. Most players who get this item report it happening by accident during other activities rather than dedicated farming. The Dirtiest block summons a pet that looks exactly like a dirt block. Each world only contains 3 to 12 of these special dirt blocks that drop the pet, making it impossible to farm traditionally. They look identical to regular dirt blocks, so finding them requires either incredible luck or systematic mining of entire worlds. This item represents peak Terraria developer trolling. Taking the most common block in the game and making a handful of them summon pets is genuinely hilarious game design. The world-limited nature means you can't grind indefinitely. Once you've found all the special dirt blocks in your world, you're done unless you generate new worlds. It's not practically rare in the sense that you might accidentally find one, but it's systematically rare because there are so few per world. The joke value alone makes this worth having. The Slime Staff. At 0.01% drop rate from most slimes, this is statistically the rarest weapon drop in Terraria. King Slime has the best odds at 3.33%, but even that means you're looking at roughly 30 King Slime kills on average. Regular slimes, you're talking about killing 10,000 slimes for a single staff. The baby slime minion it summons is honestly pretty weak. 6 base damage isn't impressive even for early game, but that's not the point. The slime staff is a badge of honor. a testament to either incredible luck or mind-numbing dedication. Players who own this weapon are immediately respected in the community because everyone knows what it takes to get one. You can optimize the farm with slime statues and enemy spawn manipulation, but you're still at the mercy of those brutal odds. The most common strategy is building a slime statue farm with lava damage and just letting it run for hours while you do other things. Even then, success isn't guaranteed. The fact that this weapon is completely outclassed by other summoner options within hours of obtaining it makes the whole thing even more beautifully ridiculous. You're not grinding for power, you're grinding for bragging rights. And honestly, in a game like Terraria, where optimization and efficiency dominate most discussions, there's something refreshing about an item that exists purely to test your commitment to completely pointless goals. Thanks for watching and subscribe.